Yep, we're still here, so I'm looking to use up the materials I have on hand. I had 2 large slate tiles for a chalkboard. One of them was missing a corner, and the other one had a smallish hole in the middle. I decided to use the one with the missing corner, and try to make a feature of it. I also had this piece of 80 by 80 pine to make the frame. The first job was to process the pine into usable pieces. Once cut to size, each piece of the frame had a groove routed in to hold the slate in place. I was planning on using a kind of mitered half-lap joint, like this one, where the 2 parts are cut to look like a miter, but leaving a decent glue surface. I found that I didn't have enough length for this, so I decided to change the shape and make this top triangle part of the left piece instead of the right piece here. This will be more obvious when you see the joints go together. One side of the joint could be made using the bandsaw and the disc sander. This could then be used to mark up the other side, which was cut entirely using chisels. A test fit shows how the joint goes together. I glued together some scraps and used the slate to mark out the shape needed for the corner frame. Then it was over to the bandsaw to cut it out. It was tidied up on the sander, and then it too needed a groove for the slate. In hindsight, this is definitely not the safest approach. Next time, I'd hand chisel it just like I did for the inner curve, because it still left decent results. Then recesses were cut in the outside frame to locate the curved piece. I cut another piece of slate to go in the corner using a stone cutting disc in the angle grinder. After feeling the weight of all that slate, I decided to add some strengthening braces to go onto the back. I taped together the top and bottom parts of the frame so I could cut perfectly aligned slots for the braces. One last test fit and it's ready for gluing up. I used these 3D printed strap clamp corners to keep good alignment and even clamping. Once that was dried, the braces were glued in and trimmed down with a flush cut saw. After a light sanding, it was ready to mask and apply a finish. I went with a combined stain and varnish to give it a bit more character. The raw pine just looked a bit like a preschool toy. Finally I added the fixings and string, and it was ready to hang. I really like the colour, and it's a good use of scraps, which should get a lot of use at home.